Hello, on our podcast show this week, we are talking about EVs.
EVs.
There have been a lot of developments recently, in particular on the purchasing side. And some EVs that are yet to be in your hands.
That's right,
Yeah. But let's...
New models on it.
There's just new stuff happening in the space. I think these are going to be models that a lot of the EV naysayers have been looking for because, there are a lot of vehicles out there for a reason. People have vehicles that they love for certain specific reasons. The way that they look, number one, their performance, and of course, their lifestyle needs. And one of these companies is coming back from the past to fulfill some of those more primal urges for something that looks a little bit more retro. But at any rate, we've got a lot of great stories to share with you. First of all, Winston, how's your EV?
My wife's been driving the ID.4, which is the Volkswagen, and we've been driving it for about a year and a half. I really like it. It's simple. She has that really nice driving mode where it drives like a car. So for her, that's perfect. But you can the other mode is with the regen, right? Which I don't think she's used to that, but she drives the normal car style, so that's fine. So with that, we've been driving it about a year and a half. I think that's fine, and no problems at all. Nothing.
Good.
The only time I think it was a 12-volt battery died, but that's just normal for most cars, right?
I think you identified it as your dash cam was actually sucking the power out of it.
Yeah, because it had a GPS.
Yes,
and it's constantly on.
Yes.
So that was the issue. But
keep in mind that with EV batteries, EV 12-volt batteries, that they're actually smaller by a dynamic amount over a gas vehicle because it doesn't require the cold cranking amp CCAs to actually start the ICE motor. So that's why they're actually significantly smaller. They don't need to be as big, so they save weight. They also save, I guess, the manufacturer a little bit of money, but it can be really annoying when you've just turned your car onto accessory mode or you've plugged something into one of the active USB ports and it starts sucking the power out of your car, especially if you've left it at the airport for a few days.
Yeah, just to make sure.
So all you need to do is to get over that issue is to just simply carry, they sell them on Amazon and Canadian Tire in Canada, but these NOCO charge packs, lithium battery packs that jumpstart your car. All you need to do is just do that and your car will be good to go.
Right.
Okay. So just have one in case you might forget for some reasons. Now, speaking of winter, we should also be getting into winter tires. So make sure that if you are in a region where the average temperature, morning temperature is 7 degrees Celsius or below, that you're changing into your winter tires. For more on how that affects your handling, your safety and everything like that, we've got a video podcast from last year that we cover all of the winter tires, do's and don'ts.
When do you actually do winter tires?
In Canada, it depends on the region. Alberta, which is weirdly enough to have no such legislation, so they crash into everything. That's why they have the highest
accidents.
Not just that, but they also have the highest insurance rates in Canada. Quebec legislates those to be on all vehicles from the beginning of October or something like that. And on certain roads in BC, it's about the same, October time. Okay. So as soon as these roads are marked, they are on a map in the Transport BC website. So if you want to travel into the interior, you've got to have the winter tires on. That means that your tires have the 3 Mountain Peak snowflake symbol on it for ice and for snow performance. This is different than an all-season tire because all-season tires really are 3-season tires. They don't have this marking on it. There is new marking called the ice. There's an ice rating now. Can't remember what it's called, but this is a Nokian-led initiative. And a lot of the companies out there are adopting it for additional ice performance.
That's what you already changed your tires already.
I've already changed my tires to my Nokians because the temperature has been dipping below 7 degrees Celsius. There is a other type of tire, which hopefully we'll talk about. Maybe we'll talk about this. The all-weather category has been developing quite rapidly. And we're finding that in a lot of places in BC, these types of tires are more suitable because they wear better. They also have really amazing wet wet weather performance, but they don't wear as quickly as winter tires, and they can be worn all year round because of the makeup of the material.
I have a question actually about tires, especially with the EVs. Are there any tires specifically made for EVs, or are they just normal tires for general cars?
There are, because I actually had an incident where I went to our friends at Cal Tire, and we didn't know at the time because I was just wearing out my my Nokian R3 model has just been discontinued. The R5 models were there. I wanted a replacement for my front set because they are already worn out after 2.5 years. Because in the EV, I like to press the gas a little bit more. But even then, 2.5 years, pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So what I did is I went to my Cal Tire. We settled on the R5 and the size and the weight rating and everything. We changed them over. And it turns out that for some reason, they weren't EV rated. So the compound, the rubber compound must have been different. And they are now halfway through their life after about 10,000 kilometers.
So it's like less than a year.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, we caught the issue. Cal Tire is going to take care of this because they installed the tire. They recommended it. And they're taking full responsibility for it. So I'm going to be going to Cal Tire to pick out, like I was talking about all-weather tires. I'm going to be trying out the WRG5, which is Nokian's latest all-weather tire that is winter biased. You'll hear a lot about all-weather tires that are like all year round. They have some ice performance, some snow performance, but Nokian's are specifically, they bias their all-weathers on winter performance. So if you're living in an area where you don't get a lot of snow, but you get frost, cold,
ice,
rain, occasional ice, occasional snow. They're like, this tire, I hope to give you some feedback on that as I get into the season.
So it's something to look out for if you're an EV driver. There are certain tires which are specifically made to enhance or for EVs.
Usually it's a rolling resistance thing, and usually the compounds might be a little bit more harder wearing because of the additional torque.
Right.
Which are two things to be expected of an EV tire, right? Weight notwithstanding, a lot of the vehicles out there, like they get heavier every year because the model changes. So they're heavier by... There's a lot of big vehicles out there. EVs, they're a little bit heavier, but even in this case, some of the batteries and the chassis, because they've been lightened up so much, it's like maybe a 400-pound difference. So it's like two people, large American people, in the back seat.
They say the EV cars are a little bit heavier because of the batteries.
Marginal, but it's actually the trucks that are causing the damage. The large SUVs are causing the damage. So again,
talking about SUVs, Tesla. They got the new, well, supposedly new, Model Y Juniper.
Ah, yes, the
refresh. And this one looks a lot sleeker. And I think with because of the it's an SUV, it's supposedly a people carrier. I say people, you can sit up to like 6 or 7 people apparently, right? And I think as these models are getting more popular because of small families and things like that, they want to, like, a lot of luggage and stuff like that. So Juniper models on or the Model Y is getting already popular, and the new model looks better with supposedly more enhanced.
So if you're not ready for a Rebovin,
not yet. I don't think
you get something like this.
Get something like this.
Does it look like the Model 3?
It's almost like that, but it has the height. And it looks a lot sleeker. This one has a little bit of performance as well. So looking at the specs, it's like a computer, right? It does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds.
So a little bit quicker.
And it's rated to have around about 510 horsepower.
How about range?
According to here, looking at around about 400-ish kilometers.
400 kilometers?
So 400?
That seems low.
400,
very low.
450, 450, that's what it says here.
So that must be a smaller battery. Standard range, maybe.
That's it, because the price on this is fairly affordable. It's around about 60,000.
So has it gone up in price or dropped in price?
I think it has dropped in price because for 59,000.
And that's US though, right?
According to here, it's Canadian dollars.
Is it Canadian?
No, that's US dollars.
Yeah, because I was thinking that the Model Y is like 60 plus, depending on the trim level. And then the Model 3 is going to be 40 something.
Yeah, and we'll go to the Model 3 later next. But this one has the option for full driving, full self-driving. Full self-driving.
Yes.
Range it gives you based on the battery, so you can have a bigger battery if you want and stuff like that. So it just looks more of a refresh rather than a new model. But it looks sleeker.
Built better, potentially with fewer panel gaps and niggles and suspension components wearing out. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the thing that they say it's because it has the option for the full self-driving mode. So
it has a more powerful more powerful NVIDIA processor on board.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
fourth generation.
Fourth gen. Yeah. Okay. For Model 3, so the Model 3 has the basically. Let me just get this out now. Here you go. Model 3. No, here you go. Yep. Model 3 expected production now 2024. You won't probably see one until 2025. So it's going to be one of those. You're on a waiting list kind of thing.
So the Model 3 is I've already seen the Highliner refresh. They're already out there in Richmond where we are, and in Coquitlam. I've seen a number of them. We're getting another refresh, or is it the same?
It's the same. It's the same, I think. Okay. But the early ones that you see, you can't get in now because it's stop production. I say stop production. The production slowed down. So the next batch, the next batch will be now 2025.
Okay.
So you won't get any new ones. You can't I want one now. You're gonna have to wait until next year.
Okay.
So because of the production and stuff like that. So again, it's just a refresh, right? You got 0 to 100 kilometers in between 4.5 to.
This is 5. The 3, a new 3.
The new 3, yeah. Okay. And has long range as well. You have 59,000 Canadian actually.
Okay. So this is the new configurations coming up.
Okay. Yeah. So 59 Canadian. That's okay.
Well, for a long range all-wheel drive vehicle, there's actually some substitutes. Like you can actually buy no, you can't. It's not bad.
It's okay price, right? Because for the ID.4 that we paid 60 something. I can't remember.
So it's within range.
Yeah, and that's
but that's an SUV though, not a
SUV.
Sedan.
It's a all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive.
Okay.
So you're looking at a similar price. I think that now Tesla's actually coming down. Obviously coming about in price. They're matching the price. They're matching the price with other.
So the Model Y being $67,000 US matches the price of the EV9, which is a 3-passenger vehicle. Now the EV9 is more of a SUV style; it's more boxy.
Yeah.
If you've seen the Telluride Kia, it looks kind of like that. So that's at the 70,000 plus arena, 74,000, and then you've got the new Juniper Model Y refresh, which is coming out next year because we haven't seen any on the roads. They're in China, obviously, coming off the Shanghai factory.
Yeah.
But those photos and everything, seeing those gives you an idea of where the competition is, which is going to be the EV9. Now, the EV9 is a better looking vehicle, in my opinion, because I think everyone's kind of sick of the Tesla look. And they want something different.
Yeah. So I think Tesla's producing the more affordable cars now, and they're kind of like pushing it to the market.
Okay.
Which makes sense because you got competition and things like that.
Yes.
Talking about competition, I was in Hong Kong last week, right? So you wouldn't believe the amount of China EVs on the road.
BYDs, NIOs.
BYDs, they look amazing.
Yeah.
They look so good.
You know what? Funny thing you mentioned that. I believe that Ford's CEO is actually driving one. He won't let it go until they create something that quality.
It was so good. They have the different models. Of course, you have the kind of the Model S kind of equivalent, which is nice, sporty looking.
Yes.
4-door and everything, but the front of it and everything about it, the design, the sleekness, everything it looks so good. And then you have the more compact kind of family one, which is like the Model 3. And that's everywhere as well. And the thing is about the BYD is the price. You can get it for just say US dollars. You can get it for anything below 40,000 for the bigger models.
Wow.
And 30,000, 25,000 even for the lower models.
You can't get a Tesla for that.
You can't get anything like that. I mean, but you can see where the competition is. You can see how advanced the China EV market is already there. And At the moment, yes, you can only see them in China, Hong Kong, and things like that. But I expect them to see more of those in Asia market.
Yeah.
And while I was there, because we did a little detour in Vietnam, and VinFast were everywhere.
Of course,
they were everywhere, and they have a bigger model of the
VF9.
And that one looks a lot better.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's actually here. But they're in limited quantity and they will be releasing them soon. But, the funny thing is that they fudged the numbers because their global sales were actually, and they included all of the taxis they sold domestically.
Yeah, all the taxis are using the VinFast in Vietnam.
So that's 16,000 vehicles that were added to their total sales from the last bit. That included all of their taxi sales into their own Vietnamese domestic market, which is, again, it's like one pocket into the other pocket because that company actually belongs to VinFast.
The interesting thing with while I was in Vietnam is I didn't see any charging stations though.
Where are the charging stations?
I don't see any.
Are they underground?
I'm not sure.
How did they charge them?
I didn't see any.
That is weird.
Like, because normally you see them in like open spaces in a parking lot or a shopping center or whatever. I didn't see any.
Must be a parkade.
I don't know.
Or they travel back to a compound and they all charge overnight and they come back out. Because again, this is a VinFast transportation company.
They must have.
Right?
Yeah.
So this company bought from one division to the other and created their own division to inflate their numbers initially.
Yeah, they must have a charging station somewhere, like somewhere, because I didn't see any. But they have other EV vehicles there. Yeah, VinFast are everywhere.
Of course.
All over.
Well, it's Vingroup. They're the biggest company,
and they have
biggest
all
supplier
the
in
latest
Vietnam.
models there as well. So
okay, Vietnam supporting VinFast. It goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah, and the same as China supporting BYD or NIO or any other EV manufacturers.
BYDs are obviously they're better built. I mean, even Toyota contract manufactures their vehicle, their Toyota EV, and also Subaru.
So
BYD
almost
is
like
also a
an
BYD.
OEM kind of manufacturer.
They are contract manufacturing both vehicles for Toyota Group and also Subaru.
Ah, there you go.
All right. So that technology, take it for what it is. It is not a Subaru. It is not a Toyota. Specifically, as a BYD.
Yeah.
BYD. Okay.
BYD.
Speaking of things that people want to buy, International Harvester is a very old company in the US. And they created a vehicle, very boxy looking, rugged brand called Scout. Scout is like, your basic, it's like the boxy
like a pickup truck?
Boxy pickup, boxy, when you used to draw pictures of trucks with your crayons?
It's just a square box.
This is the type of vehicle that they create.
Okay,
but people love them because they have the big rugged wheels. They have the grill and, like the bad aerodynamics.
Bad aerodynamics.
This is a company that is a joint venture through Volkswagen.
Okay, so paired up with Volkswagen.
Yep.
Okay.
So Scout is the relaunch of an old brand in the US, super boxy, electric SUVs and pickups.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Okay.
Now, because there is a joint venture internally also with Rivian.
Okay.
With VW, because VW, their software is crap.
Yeah,
it's not so good. All right.
It's not good.
So Rivian is very good at software, very good at fleet management, very good at software that scales with the vehicles and everything because they built it from the ground up to be vertically integrated with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, even all of the Rivian vans they're running for Amazon, they still use their software to manage everything. Right. Okay. It's good. Right. So this joint venture has a little bit of Rivian, has a little bit of VW, but it's all American. Okay. Because Scout, their vehicles look rugged. They look like something that people want to drive. And they have one vehicle that has a gas-powered range extender.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
As kind of a selling feature.
So it's like, is that built into the engine or is it?
It's built in.
Or is it
built in with a battery pack?
It's almost like
it's both.
It's almost like a hybrid, but reverse.
It's a plug-in. No, it's reverse because the gas is not primary. The gas is only kicking in if you run out of electric charge.
That's
still
right.
Charge the vehicle primarily through CCS or NACS in this case, North American Charging Standard, but everything else about the vehicle is less electric range, more gas range.
All right.
Right? It's going to be heavier, obviously. It's going to have an engine and everything like that. The complications of that, obviously, are well known because, and I found this out recently as well too, because our plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, it had over $4,000 worth of damage to it because one of the components inside failed to cool the engine enough, and other things, the hybrid starter, the belt and everything like that, it got chowed because the engine overheated.
Oh no.
Yeah. So $4,000 worth of damage on the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. $4,000 is what I spent for service on my electric vehicle over 3 years. And that's not including the gas, the oil changes.
Yeah.
So a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle is double the complication. And when something does go wrong, it can be catastrophic.
It sounds good, but in reality,
it's complicated. It's complicated because it's two engines built together. So the way that Scout has done it is the simple way.
Okay.
You primarily have your instead of a hybrid has a small battery.
Yeah.
Big gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other way around.
The other way around.
Right?
Right. So the
as big a battery as possible.
Okay.
And then the range extender charges the battery if it runs below a certain level.
So it's not like a separate engine. It's more of a
generator.
A generator just to charge the batteries.
It's like a diesel electric locomotive.
Right.
Because it charges that battery and keeps it rolling, right? So it's using that type of methodology to make it all work.
Okay.
Very attractive for places where charging infrastructure is a little bit low.
Yeah.
But you still get all the torque. And because you get a much higher efficiency charging directly from an internal combustion source into a battery, it's slightly cleaner.
Okay. So Scout is going ahead with that. And
they're going ahead. Yep. And there are two models. The first model is the Terra, which is a pickup truck that looks very much like the Rivian. I'm sure that there were some ideas thrown around that it should model after the Rivian as much as possible to share production. And they also have the other one. This is called the Terra, and then the Scout. No, hold on. Oh, there, Scout Terra.
So
what's the other one called?
So the Rivian, of course, they make the trucks, and you're saying that the Scout partnership with VW, they're gonna have, they're gonna share the production, producing not just the Scout vehicles, but also Rivian vehicles as well.
Yes. Hold on. There's what's the boxy one called? The Scout, the Terra, and I can't remember. Traveler. The Traveler's the more boxy kind of SUV style.
Okay.
It's got the grille. It's aggressive looking, big, bumpy tires and everything like that. But of course, reduced range. That's why they need the diesel backup. But much more aggressive. Bold lines, bad aerodynamics. Crayon drawing style looking things, based on Rivian software with Volkswagen platform.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things I found out about their business model is that the investment that they're putting into the factory that's going to build the Scouts, the $2 billion that they're going to put in to build their factory in the US, it's going to be a multi-faceted business, because it's not only going to have one line putting out Scouts, the Terra, and also the Traveler, but it's also going to be helping Volkswagen build their vehicles as well too. So maybe the ID Buzz, maybe the ID7 when it comes out. Those are going to be domestically produced at that factory at the same time, so that they're actually spreading out their investment to bring in revenue from that partnership.
Right.
And because there's tariffs going on with Chinese manufacturers, I think some of the long-term plans is to actually contract out another portion of that to assembling foreign vehicles in the domestic market, which will give Scout Motors the ability to actually take the latest tools and processes and everything and utilize them in the production of their vehicles as well.
So almost like an OEM kind of like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Foxconn wanted to do something like this. Foxconn wanted to take that, that piece of land that was in Wisconsin that they built a building on, but nothing happened with it, right? They were supposed to do like an EV building plant for I think, what's the company called? Lordstown Motors, but they went under.
Right.
Because that's one of the plans that Foxconn wanted to do, is they wanted to build like up to 50% of the world's EVs as the as a tool, as the manufacturing plant of all EVs in the world. I don't think that's happening right now. I haven't heard a lot from Foxconn since they did that Foxtron introduction like a year or so ago. They're a Taiwanese company, so maybe their priorities have shifted, and they may be shifting a lot more now because in the current climate, Taiwan might actually go back to the mainland. We shall see.
Either that or they move their factories out.
Oh, they move which is happening right now.
Talking about that, I was in Vietnam. There's a lot of Taiwanese people there as well. So, so the factories are there. They're starting to build factories in Vietnam because of the one. I think it's to do with the production. The tech is growing in Vietnam, so you can see like all the VinFast stuff right there, and also the technologies, including the battery technologies, and so they're starting to build a lot of factories there. So we might see some factories moved out to other countries like that.
Yeah, like I've seen. It's weird, you know our VinFast videos. I see you, Vietnam. I see a lot of people from Vietnam viewing our VinFast videos.
Right.
Yeah, so I know you're looking at us. I think our criticisms are fair, maybe emotionally charged, but for the right reason. Because if I'm to give you $60,000 for a vehicle, I better be satisfied, right? I mean, that's a lot of money.
Well, they do have the new 9, is it?
The VF9 shares a lot with the VF8. It's just bigger.
Okay, bigger.
So everything that was weird with the VF8 is probably going to show up in some form on the VF9. Like the back seats being not so plush and everything like that. The steering dynamics being a little funky. I mean, those are things that you can't just wave a wand and take away unless you revise the entire platform. Because if you look at all the vehicles, they still have a tunnel that runs through the middle of the vehicle. Why is that? It's because they were not actually EV platforms. So VinFast, I'm willing to give you guys a chance. You just need to show me an EV from the ground up platform.
Just give us an EV for us to drive for a year.
Yeah, I'll drive it around for a year. I'll figure it out. Sure, why not? But I want to like you. You have a great warranty. The vehicles, we need new players in the market. We definitely do, and we need to build here because, well, actually, it doesn't really matter because Vietnam is China adjacent, so the tariffs don't actually apply to you, which is kind of funny. Maybe I'm wrong, but if we can just get something that is EV from the ground up, better range, more storage, interior, better quality rear seat for Winston here because he's picky.
Better
driving dynamics. They're less bouncy, and maybe if I wear polarized glasses, I can see your HUD. Just some minor things, right, like that. Built for our winters with heat pumps, built for our roads with the rougher roads and everything like that.
We like a start button as well.
And a start button or something like that. Buttons, I like buttons. Buttons are good. Just pick and choose your battles. Not everything needs to be on the screen. Some things still need to be buttons because of a safety aspect, right?
Yeah, like most things have a power button.
Like a power button at least, right? It's weird. Okay. But, I applaud you for coming in and doing the thing. But anyhow, you have another story to share with us, right?
Yeah. One of the reasons I haven't bought, I've been thinking about buying an EV for a while, over a year now, actually. So my wife got the ID.4. I was thinking Tesla, and then I've seen like the old Model 3, and then the new Model, new Model 3 coming out soon. And one of the reasons why I didn't buy a Tesla yet is because, or any other EVs, is because, of course, the new North American charging standard.
Yes.
Right? So that's coming out in Canada, apparently, 2025, next year.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that, and the news is that it's coming along. A lot of manufacturers now are jumping onto this. I'm not sure if they still are, but I think with what Tesla's happening with, of course, recently.
Yeah. I think there's momentum. I think that having the charging network in place is a very big deal.
Yeah,
right?
And already Hyundai and a few other brands already, for the next models, already included this charging port on their cars already. So with that said, then I think it's something that I wasn't too sure on, and now with 2025 around the corner and new vehicles coming out, and they have this charging port already, I think it's time to maybe think about, hey, this is a good time to buy an EV? And also with all the EVs like yours, what would happen if you have this new charging standard? Will you need to get an adapter, or how will it kind of work?
Well, the NACS, Tesla used to need the CCS adapter in reverse to what I need. Okay. So it would actually have to adapt that little tiny port that is NACS now into CCS so it can accept the larger cable. Now, vehicles that have the CCS need to accept the smaller nozzle.
Right. So Tesla hasn't changed anything on their side.
Tesla doesn't need to change anything at all. So we just need to buy an adapter.
You just need to buy an adapter which plugs into this new charging port standard, right?
Yeah. CCS will be around for quite some time. It was the standard that started everything. A lot of vehicles still have it. And until which time, I think that a lot of charging stations are just going to have both of them.
Yeah. Because you mentioned the entire this road going all the way up to Alaska from BC has all these charging stations, right? Including BC Hydro and that. So they're charging, I guess,
they're CCS.
The CCS
right now.
So they just need the adapter to change it to.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
That's okay, because that's the one thing I was worried about, whether if you get this car now or the new vehicles with this new charging standard, what about all the charging stations available outside publicly? Will it be?
That's been a non-issue for Teslas for quite some time now, because those adapters have been sold for quite some time now. Even Teslas actually sell the adapter.
Oh, okay.
So they know that you don't get it in the box.
Yeah,
right. You have to buy it.
Buy it extra. Yeah. Okay, okay. So looking at that, I think it's this NACS, the North American charging standard, it is getting the momentum, like you said.
Yeah, and, like a lot of the chargers, the new version 4 stations, they will have both CCS and NACS, but I think that moving forward, they will just have it's still a good idea, because it's just an adapter. You basically plug it in, you pull the adapter that you need, and it just plugs into your car. There's 2 of them built on. If you have a Tesla, you pull it out, it's the small nozzle. If you put it back in, you activate, it's going to pull the whole thing out. Right. And it plugs in.
So for the guys who already have EV vehicles, don't worry about this new standard coming out. You can get the adapter.
Yeah, it's a non-issue. It's been that way for a while. The only issue that you have to look for is that whether or not your vehicle has been authorized for the network. So manufacturers one by one are being authorized. Ford was one of the first. Hyundai is next. Polestar is good. Like Kia is good. You just need to make sure that the software is able to accept your vehicle as well too. So make sure that you keep an eye on that list as it starts to grow. Manufacturer by manufacturer is coming out. Rivians, of course, are good. Right.
Okay. So that's one of the things. One of the stories I found is that now with this standard, I should be able to get a vehicle next year.
Yeah, it's a $300 adapter if you want to go from CCS to NACS. And I don't know if it's cheaper or not, but you're going to need to go to NACS to CCS, and that's the Tesla side adapter. So you're going to need one or the other. Right. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
still some money need to be spent to get the charging happening. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of charging things, oh yes. So GM has a bit of a recall again.
Okay.
On the Chevy Bolts. It's like that vehicle's constantly recalled, but they always catch it before something really bad happens.
Okay.
Because again, your recall notices only reach so many people, especially if they're hardware recalls, right?
Okay.
And in this case, the battery packs in about 107 of the EUV and EVs of the newer model of the Bolt are affected by what potentially could be a max charge fire risk. Oh, so if you charge above 90% to 100%, I think they've identified 100 vehicles that might have this risk, 107, and they've only recalled a small number, and it's just a software patch.
Okay.
Right? But you need to be aware that if you miss the software patches and these issues happen, there's no way for Chevy, at least right now, or GM to right now, push over the air on these older vehicles. You have to go to a dealership to have the software installed.
Right.
Okay. So don't miss out on those recalls, because not everyone can do that. Like they're getting better at pushing these updates. But if you have an older EV and there is a battery management, battery BMS system update, you need to go to the dealer to do it. You can't just wait. So if you get the notice, make sure that that's in.
Your EV, does it have a over the air update?
No.
So you have to go into the...
I have to go if it's that sort of a recall.
Okay.
But right now, I'm good. Okay. No recalls on my vehicle.
Okay. I noticed certain vehicles, EV vehicles, especially ones like Tesla, they do, and I think my brother's Ioniq 5 or Ioniq...
Yeah, some of them will do.
Over the air.
Over the air.
And it is just you get the USB connector, a USB thumb drive.
Yeah.
Plugs it in.
Oh, I still do that for the infotainment system, but we're talking about battery management system on the older ones. You can't just do that. It has to be flashed through inside their software system. Has to flash the modules with the software. So in this case, with the Chevy Bolts that are the newer generation ones, the EUV and the EV, this software just limits the charge and keeps an eye on these vehicles until which time it sends a code, and then that way potentially there's a battery replacement or a module replacement in your vehicle.
Oh, right. So something to do with the internal hardware of the actual vehicle.
Yes. So it's not it's software, but it's not, and it has to be done at the dealership. These are affecting models 2022 late to 2023, the new look of the EV Bolt EV and beyond. So if you do have one and you're not aware of anything, just make sure you check your VIN number or call your dealer and make sure it's taken care of. Then that way we won't have any issues.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And this is US, North America wide, because the EUV and the EV are sold here.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
what do you got?
I think that's pretty much it. Let's have a look. I have one more maybe. This is 0% finance with Tesla again.
Oh yes.
So
what's the catch?
So all of the models, I think, including the Model 3 and other models here, you can get the 0% finance only.
Yes.
If you get the full self-driving.
What if I don't want it?
You won't get it then.
Okay, then that sucks.
Yeah, it'll cost you 11,000 Canadian dollars.
Oh my God.
For 11,000, yes, for the self-driving option. Then you're able to opt for this 0% finance. Yeah. So which works out according to here. There you go. This estimate between
how much is it per month?
1,400. If you have a $5,000 down payment for 48 months, 0% finance. You also have a 0.1 or 0.99% finance option. That's a little bit cheaper at give you 1,173. Again, 5,000 deposit down, but 60 months.
Okay.
Term. So
you know what? For Tesla, that's actually not bad. Usually they offer 3.9%, all the way up to like 6%.
Yeah, and there's also more cheaper again, and this is more months, right?
Okay.
So 1.99% at 84 months.
Yeah.
At 876, and if you want to go crazy like 96 months, that's $805, 299%.
Okay.
So, but you're getting like you have to pay for the $11,000 for the full self-driving option.
I don't know if it's worth the price. I mean, I think I'd rather pay an extra percentage point just to not do it.
Are you buying a Tesla? If you enjoy the content here, you get 1,300 Canadians off for your purchase if you go for this referral link. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Well.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you got the finance options. I'm not going to go with the 0% finance. It's I don't think it's worth the 11,000 for the full self-driving mode or the option, because
I want that.
It's not fully functional, right? You said in Canada?
No, it doesn't work. Well, I think it's not operable in certain parts of the province because we haven't approved it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you buy it with that,
you may never get it.
You can't use it.
You may never use it properly.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's certain functions that are restricted. So I don't know a whole lot more about that because I don't have full self-driving. I drive my own car. Thanks. So there might be an issue.
And plus, I don't trust it yet.
No, I don't think any of us trust it, especially because it's even man. Anyway, so one last story.
Okay,
you know how EVs don't work in the winter?
Like you said before, yeah.
Like some people, I don't know who, but some people tell us that. Well, it looks like they do because the Northwest Territories is our coldest region of the country. That's above BC, above Alberta, above Saskatchewan.
To Alaska.
That is next to Alaska, basically. Yes,
Right.
yes, next to Alaska. So
Okay.
the Yukon territory and then Alaska beside it. And they are finally going to be completing an EV route that extends from the BC Hydro route that we were talking about last time.
Yeah.
It extends it all the way up into the Northwest Territories by Northwest Territory Power, which is their power grid maker, and it's going to take you from the end of the Yellowknife Highway, which is out in Alberta, all the way up.
Wow!
And this work going to be work is on it right now to make that happen. So next year, by this time, we might have
what is up there though? Is there anything up there?
There is tundra. Yes, and according to someone I talked to, there's also heavy amounts of arsenic frozen in the permafrost.
Permafrost.
That if it ever got out, it would poison all of that territory because it needs to remain frozen.
Wow!
So they're pumping like freezing agents into it.
Territories, right? Northwest Territories.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that between each stop, there's a 200-kilometer gap. Right now in BC, it's 100 to 150, but the bare minimum was 200 kilometers because most EVs these days can do a minimum of 350 to 500 kilometers. So that's a vast area. There is stuff up there. It's a huge area, but it's going to extend from the top of Alberta up through Hay River. Like I said, there's a town called Yellowknife. Yeah. So they wanted to get it there. They want EVs to come there because number one, it's cleaner for the environment because the pollutants stay in the snow as it falls, right?
That's how they do the ice core tests where they measure all the pollutants over the years, right?
That's right. So it's worse up there because of the fact that it's trapped in the snow. So it comes back down and gets you. So it's going to be a really interesting time up there. Power is generated differently, so you may see these temporary stations with like diesel generators attached to them for the time being. But if they can harness solar, if they harness other power.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Some of these charging stations, like you mentioned, when we were driving up to BC up north.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was you or someone told me that these charging stations are not connected up to the power grid as such, or some of them.
Yeah.
They're charged overnight and then it gets is that not all of them?
No, not all of them. No. That's wrong.
Tell me, correct me.
That's wrong for certain ones. Journey, which is Chevron, their charging stations, their Journey charging stations actually use a battery backup.
Okay.
And those are charged off the grid at level 2 rates. So it's like 7.6 to 9.6 kilowatts per hour until they're topped up. This only works in places where the demand is low. So if there's a very remote area and no one's there for a while, then it makes a lot of sense just to have these batteries topped up overnight or within a certain time period until the next vehicle show up.
Okay, so there's no need for to be on the power grid.
To be on heavy duty equipment.
Right.
Like a regular service would take care of charging like a bank of them. So as long as you have the capacity, as long as you have like more than 4 and 2 cars roll up, it's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
They're going to charge. They're going to take half the battery capacity. They're going to go on. It's going to top up again. Then the next 2 are already full capacity. They're going to charge. They're going to move on, right? But it also depends on the capacity, the capacity for like how many EVs are coming up. Traffic reports, how many EVs are actually driving through. If 100 EVs need to use that spot, that's going to be an issue. So until we get to the time where we need that type of infrastructure where we need 12 of them all working.
I understand now. Yeah.
Then it'll be fine. But in the meantime, it makes no sense to bring in like this heavy duty cabling to set up a site.
Right.
Until there is enough traffic.
Okay, I get you. So for most remote sites, I guess.
It could be 2 ways. It could be a battery backup system that's running off the grid that is charging at a lower rate to top up the batteries during off-peak times, or it could be solar, or it could be diesel-backed generator. I think there's only one. And that's a BC Hydro test setup that's somewhere up up in the route.
And then for more urban town areas, it's on the grid where it's on the heavy.
It's on the grid. Right. There is a battery backup setup that is at a Chevron station in Port Coquitlam. It's on the corner of Maryhill Bypass and Broadway. That particular station, when it was free, all the Teslas over across the street, that you would used to spam that spot and just sit there all day long because there was no limit, right?
Yeah.
And they would just spam that spot and they would move on. By the time you got there to level 3 charge, there was nothing left.
Right, I get you.
Right? So that in spots like that doesn't work. Okay. In spots like Hope, doesn't work because there's too much traffic going through. But if there's a smaller Chevron in the middle of this town and there's there's maybe 3 or 4 EVs going through right now, it's fine.
It's like that place we went past. I think it was it sold some chocolate or some sweets.
Blue River.
Yes.
Yeah, Blue River
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but it had BC Hydros ready to go. Right. It just didn't have enough of them. It only had 2.
Okay.
Right? The dream would be if they had battery backup on the other side, 12 stations, then they would just all be topped up, ready to go when it is needed. And they would be using battery, and they wouldn't need the higher service level.
Yeah.
They could split the one service level that's for those 2 chargers and power all of them and charge overnight. Okay. So you would just go to the one that wasn't red.
Okay. Right? So for you guys, to let you know that not all charging stations are run off the grid. Some of them are battery powered.
They are run off the grid, but they're charged off peak.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you deplete the battery, it'll go back to level 2 speed, right? Which is 7.6 to 11 kilowatt hour, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a 60 kilowatt hour battery, that would take about 5 hours, something like that. That's how it works.
Got ya.
All right. So that's it. That's all the EV news we have right now. Hopefully we will be sharing you some more news. And I think we've got we got holidays coming up. So stay tuned for some gift guides on how to buy for your loved ones that are tech heads or not. And some useful tech and some ideas on how to navigate the holidays.
Yeah, it's Black Friday, right? It's coming up soon.
Yeah, Black Friday is coming up soon. Hopefully they release some deals because otherwise there won't be anything to talk about. But maybe we'll talk about some things that we wish were on sale. Okay.
Like this one.
Sure. Yes.
The DJI
Pocket. Yeah. This show is not brought to you by the DJI Pocket 3
Osmo.
Yeah. This is filmed on.
Yeah, which is great. We've been using this for a couple of shows.
Yeah. And, so the last 2 shows, and we also gave you an audio test in the last show by accident. At any rate, thank you so much. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the next show.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.